Hello, good night, everyone, and welcome again to this video of mine. Today, I will briefly update you all in regards to the current situation in West Papua. Currently, there's heavy Indonesian military deployment to um, West Papua, especially up to the Central Highlands region of West Papua. Recently, most of you would have heard about the recent attacks on Indonesian military in Mugi um, in Induga region of West Papua, where the West Papua National Liberation Army attacked the Indonesian security forces. And from the latest report or audio report that we received, a total of 15 Indonesian security forces have been shot at. So I think up till today, their bodies haven't been retrieved by the Indonesian military officials. So they're still in the area up in the Induga Regency. So I managed to read the report or the statement from the spokesman of TPNPB, Mr. Sebi Sabon, and that was from the commander in charge of Dugama Darakma in Induga Regency, Egyanis Kogoya. And he made a strong appeal to Indonesian President Joko Widodo to remove the current Indonesian military commander. He was in charge of the operations in West Papua. What he mentioned in the statement was that the commander actually made false, carried out this press release and giving false information to Indonesian public in regards to the attacks that took place up in the Induga agencies. Where, well, first he mentioned about when this hostage that took place up in Paro, up in the Induga region. He claimed when TPNPB had already, put the details information out in the media, he actually denied that, he denied that there wasn't, he said that there wasn't any hostage. But later, I don't know whether he retracted his statement, but that's uh, one of these lies that he did was that he wasn't telling the truth in his press statement. And the recent one was the attack that happened up in Induga Regency, where in his press statement again, he said that there wasn't any casualties from the Indonesian military. So he lied uh, in his um, in his press statement to the Indonesian media. He wasn't even telling them the truth about the Indonesian soldiers being killed up in the Induga Regency, West Papua. So in the letter that I wrote, or the statement that we've managed to put it out to the public now, he appealed to Indonesian Egyanis Kugoya, the commander in charge of uh, um, the TPNPB up in in Induga Regency. He asked the Indonesian president to remove the current Indonesian military officer in charge of the military operations in West Papua, saying that he was actually telling lies in his official press statement. So yeah, so we've managed to secure a audio recording of the latest report about the current situation on the ground, The TPNPB, the West Papua National Liberation Army, managed to seize many weapons from the Indonesian military. The ones that they captured, and and also it's really sad that those soldiers that got killed up until today, the Indonesian military officials in Papua failed to come and retrieve those bodies, so they're still there. So we don't know when they will come in to the area to to retrieve or remove those dead bodies. So and you can see from these ongoing Indonesian military operations in West Papua, these Indonesian soldiers and police coming to West Papua are being used by the Indonesian government, especially the Indonesian elites in Jakarta, sending them as you know, sheep to be slaughtered. When these people don't know exactly about the area and the place where they're gonna go. If you look at the region or the area, or especially the whole island of New Guinea, it's totally different from other parts of Indonesia. I don't know, maybe other parts of the world. The geography and the terrain itself and the climate. It doesn't suit people from another part of the world coming in, especially if you're trying to engage in a war with the local inhabitants or the people that live there, because they grow up, in that environment and they know their way in and around those areas. So it will be very hard for you to, for example, if you want to engage in a war with them, they will have more advantage than you. So, and this is what we are seeing now in West Papua. There are a lot of Indonesian military are coming to West Papua and they have been shot, they've been killed. So, basically, they didn't know the geography, how around around those places. And they're like sitting ducks, like they can be shot at any time. And the West Papuan struggle for independence, it's sort of moved, it's different from like 40 or 50 years ago. These days you have younger soldiers who are more who have that more energy and more strength to move around, and they're more organized than their elders, so all the generations. So and also with the use of the technology like the internet, and people are able to get the news quickly about what's happening on the ground in West Papua. So, Indonesian government, especially its military and the police, cannot lie to the Indonesian public, with the latest, especially the world has changed now. You cannot lie, you cannot write, fake news and put it out in the public to see, So one thing that I've realized when I go to the internet and try to get the reports about what's happening in West Papua, you will see that a lot of the Indonesian media, especially, they don't write facts about or the truth about the current war in West Papua. So they're basically taking the reports from one side, maybe from the Indonesian military or the police, but they don't kind of like compare with maybe give a call to the spokesman of West Papua National Liberation Army, Sebi Sabom, and get the version. What's the story? but they're only getting the story from the Indonesian military officials and the police in Papua, but they are not comparing on getting the story from both sides and then put it out in the media so that public can make their own decision or can make their own judgment. So we're having a lot of fake news right now in West Papua, especially if you go on the internet and you try to read search about West Papua and read about things that are happening over there. So a lot of the news now, it's more like a propaganda. The media is being used as a propaganda machine to engage in the disseminating this fake news, and you cannot trust this Indonesian media these days. It's very hard. So it's best that if you want to know more about what's really happening in West Papua, it's good that, especially in regards to the current, with the liberation war in West Papua, it would be good to speak to the chairman of OPM, Mr. Jeffrey Bomanak, or to the spokesman of TPNPB, or the West Papua National Liberation Army, Sebi Sabom. They would give you the correct information about the current situation on the ground. So and that's the message that I would like to also appeal, send over to the to the international media as well, in regards to the current like liberation war in West Papua. It would be good for you to speak to the West Papuan leaders, especially the OPM leaders. Like you have the spokesman for the West Papua National Liberation Army, Sabi Sabon, and also the chairman of the OPM, Free Papua Movement, Jeffrey Bomanak. They can give you the more accurate picture or details about what's really happening on the ground in West Papua. So you cannot go to the Indonesian military or go to the Indonesian website and start, picking the stories on the media and put it out for public to read. You will find that a lot of the stories or information is not correct. It's kind of like a fake news they are publishing. So the current situation in West Papua right now, we have from the audio recording that we've just received today. Those 13 Indonesian soldiers that got killed up until today, their bodies are still there in the location where they were shot. It's slowly their bodies are slowly decomposed, decomposing. Uh, they've actually, in a statement, they've appealed to the Indonesian military to come to the area to remove their bodies and take them back to Indonesia, back to their families. So yeah, so it's really sad. Like this is not a that's you cannot find you will not find any solution, or you cannot address the problem by sending in more military to engage in the war with the in West Papua especially. I think that is not the best approach. I mean, we need to sit down together and try and come. I think there's always a room for dialogue and negotiations. So we can always come to a final solution to the 60-year-old conflict in West Papua. And I think the approach that Indonesian military is taking, especially in this whole West Papua issue, is terrible. It's not right, because and also currently we have this the New Zealand pilot still being held as hostage in West Papua, and with this ongoing Indonesian military up in the highlands in the Induga regions of West Papua, it also put the lives of the New Zealand pilot at risk, and we of course do not want anything to happen to him. So I mean, West Papuan leaders have actually, opium leaders have actually made their stand clear that they want a roundtable negotiation and dialogue with the Indonesian government, especially with the Indonesian president, and witnessed by a neutral third party like New Zealand government or maybe United Nations officials, so that they can sit down and also talk about the how they can work towards releasing the hostage currently being held in West Papua, and also talk about the issue of West Papua in broader terms, and especially the 60-year-old West Papuan conflict, which has resulted in over 500,000 Papuans being killed, lost. So that's one of the things that OPM is working towards, that in trying to organize, have the Indonesian government agreed to have a kind of like a roundtable international mediated dialogue or negotiations, so that we can all sit down together and end this end this conflict. Especially, you have a lot of people have been killed, and the recent news of the Indonesian soldiers being killed in West Papua. And I was just going through, I was just reading the article about, well, I went to the Indonesian various media site, and it's all about, the soldiers that have been killed, but nobody talked about the widows, the children, of these dead soldiers, and the wives, especially the widows, and the family. How do they feel like? So it's really a concern. They're sending these young, inexperienced soldiers to West Papua, and many have been killed. So I mean, I don't think that's the way we can resolve, or end this conflict in West Papua. There needs to be a round table negotiation and dialogue by all parties together, so we can really sit down and find a solution to the 60-year-old conflict. So anyway, and yeah, so continue to pray for the people of West Papua. Right now, the situation in the country is not good. A lot of people are not feeling, that feeling of comfort, especially they they don't feel that, what's the right word, they don't have that hope, like, they felt like the international community is not doing enough for to help them. So and I think we want to appeal to the international communities, especially UN and all our international relatives, to do more to help end this 60-year-old conflict in West Papua, because right now the people of West Papua are not safe in their own land, in their own homes. With the ongoing Indonesian military operations up in the Central Highlands region of West Papua, we've seen close to 60 to 100,000 Papuans being internally displaced from their homes and villages, and since I don't think since 2018, the problem, these IDPs, internally displaced people, the number has increased now, and we have a lot of people who continue to live in trauma, and they do not have that support from the government, and yeah, something needs to be done about it, and we cannot let this problem to continue on. We all need to work together to find a solution to the 6-year-old conflict. So anyway, it's just an update on what's happening in West Papua, and we'll continue to update you all as we uh, you know uh, monitor the situation on the ground. And yeah, please continue to pray for the people of West Papua. And we believe that everything will happen on God's own timing. We just continue to believe and have faith and trust in God. So thank you very much, and may God bless you all.